mean, it's like it's weird because actually, as I was saying, that my kind of mission as a writer has always been about how people mess up, and it's weird because the latest book I've got out, Crime, is a bit different because it's really looking about how people heal. There's a superficial thing about the paedophilia, which is quite is a shocking subject to deal with, but it wouldn't have been interesting for me to write a book about about that as a subject because it's so bleak and it's so morally unambiguous. I mean, it's just so wrong and evil, and that's the end of it basically. So there's nothing really interesting to write about it. So what was more interesting to write about is how people actually survive something like that and how they come through it and how they help each other to come out the other side of it. So from quite a very kind of bleak and distressing subject, it's probably the most upbeat book that I've written in a way. So I mean, yeah, so and it is very different from the other books in the sense that is the kind of line of inquiry rather than the reverse. Yeah. So I think with this one, I was reading Nabokov's Lolita, which I've read a couple of times, and there's always something that I didn't like about the book, and I was trying to work out what it was, and I think it's this contention that, I mean, obviously it was written in very different times and all that, and people, back then people didn't know how kind of scarring and devastating child abuse was on somebody who's experienced it, but it was this idea that somebody could be a paedophile, but it was justified if there was this kind of high-minded, sort of educated aesthete character, and I kind of wanted to write against that, and to sort of to say, well, no, it's not really kind of it's not acceptable under any circumstances. It's like kind of it's not acceptable for a kind of why should it be more acceptable for a fated sort of pop star to take children into his bed when a lorry driver or a truck driver would be treated in a completely different way for doing the same thing? So it's like it's kind of regaling against all that sort of and looking at the kind of how devastating that is to people who experience it. So I was kind of writing against that kind of Nabokov thing, and I wanted to write something to me that seemed to be more socially real.